What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. What a bizarre world we live in sometimes. I don't understand this line of thinking. I have never, I don't think, at least to any reasonable amount of memory, genuinely wished pain or harm on anybody. Maybe there was the cat guy from Chile, I suppose. He might qualify. But especially when you look at over differences in political opinions, yet the writer from Rick and Morty, as well as world-famous hot take connoisseur Moviebob, have indicated that Boris Johnson deserves every blunt needle he gets. Now, I don't know if you watch Rick and Morty. To be fair, you have to have a pretty high IQ. I think the world is pretty much over it. I think a new season came out, and I was just over it 2 seasons ago. It burned too brightly. Too much merchandise, too much. It was just too much. The show might be good these days, but I got burned out on it. But that doesn't stop Rick and Morty writer Sauban Thompson saying he deserves every blunt needle he gets. Rick and Morty and Dimension 20 voice actor took to Twitter to express her hatred of the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson after it was announced he was moved to the ICU following a prognosis for the coof. Thompson took to Twitter, here's the archive link, where she initially wrote, Boris Johnson to be visited in hospital by 3 ghosts of people who passed unnecessarily because of his cuts to NHS funding. Now that's their national healthcare system there. In an obvious reference to Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge is visited by his former business partner. Everyone knows how the story goes. Anyway, after receiving these visits, Scrooge changed his life. Thompson wishes pain on Johnson. This see you next Tuesday deserves every blunt needle he'll get. One user confronted Thompson saying, this is gross. Wishing this on anyone, no matter your political views, is extremely questionable. Take a look at yourself. You wouldn't look at someone in the street and wish this upon them. At least I hope you wouldn't. She responded by saying, maybe if they hadn't cut school, you'd have a better reading comprehension. Whoa. Whoa. This is just a complete meltdown. The implication is that she's not wishing his deletion, but merely extreme pain at the point of numerous blunt needles. It's also safe to assume that she hopes Boris Johnson will have a change of heart, like Scrooge, afterwards. I don't understand these kind of hot takes. I really don't. It's just so weird to me how anyone could really believe this and ultimately follow through on typing it onto a public platform where undoubtedly many of your viewers are probably interested in the show, are fans of the show. And then you get absolute hot take artist Bob Chipman putting out various hot takes wishing ill on people, saying the worst thing about viruses is that they really are amoral. Sure, it's fun to think about, say, all those people and literally all their viewers collapsing into coughing fits in the street. But it might also happen to the 20 to 25% of the country that doesn't deserve to be in pain. Of course, also issuing a wonderful hot take referring to the McDonald's challenge, saying, that's a fairly small amount of McDonald's for an average person size. I'd say the main reason fast food cooks so fast and lasts so short is because there isn't much density to it. I wouldn't want to have to eat a double helping of nuggets in that time frame, but I could easily. That's 4,500 calories. Wishing pain on 75 to 80% of people. This is a guy that still works for The Escapist, by the way. And even though The Escapist has come out to issue some strong disavowals. But then you have Bob Chipman here tripling down, saying, I wouldn't be so crass as to say I don't wish Boris Johnson to recover, But were the random turns of history to involve the UK suddenly having a new political leadership and pull out its present tailspin, I would be glad to learn a fresh avenue of escape had reopened. He, of course, replies, a whole bunch of people are reading this as hoping somebody passes from the disease with an extremely high recovery rate, as opposed to, I wouldn't oppose this person stepping down for health reasons. Well, obviously, that's the implication, right? Of course, getting the reply, I'm sure his unborn child appreciates your thoughts, Bob. I think his tweet is obviously fantasizing, at least, about something bad happening to him. I can't stand for that. I really can't. Now, this isn't the first time that a Rick and Morty staff member has brought down upon the wrath of the internet. Not that long ago, Dan Harmon eventually, after much backlash, deleted his Twitter account. Adult Swim is still sticking by the Rick and Morty co-creator, who is targeted by far-right trolls. Interesting. For the second time in just a few days, a high-powered Hollywood figure is coming under fire for old offensive content. First, it was Guardians of the Galaxy director who ended up getting fired from Disney, ended up getting rehired. Now it's Rick and Morty co-creator Dan Harmon, who's come under critique for an offensive video he made in 2009, in which he pushes himself on a baby doll. Resurfaced and went online. Harmon has since deleted his Twitter account and released an apology for the video, explaining that it was a parody of the drama Dexter. In 2009, I made a pilot which strove to parody the series Dexter and only succeeded in offending, Harmon wrote in a statement. I quickly realized the content was way too distasteful, and I took the video down immediately. Nobody should ever have to see what you saw for that, and I sincerely apologize. In the 5-minute video titled Daryl, Harmon plays a therapist who breaks into an apartment, takes his pants off, and then rubs a baby doll on himself. The sketch was posted on Harmon's website, Channel 101, with the logline, originally made with Showtime. Dan Harmon presents a groundbreaking new show of the darker side of therapy. Harmon described the character as a baby the struggle snuggler with a heart of gold. Now, I don't think that this video, I mean, it's a bad joke, but it's still clearly a joke. I hated this time. I hated when people were trying to cancel each other. I hated that Roseanne, ironically, Roseanne is the only one that remained unemployed. Shocking, right? She doesn't have the right opinions. Harmon will remain with the network, according to the Daily Beast. The video resurfaced over the weekend and on Reddit following what happened with the director James Gunn, whose old tweets were spread by far-right figures. See, when people say this is an attempt to just discredit the context. With James as well, I got a lot of viewers mad that I wouldn't quote-unquote cancel him, even though his jokes were strongly distasteful, and people's thirst for revenge over what happened to Roseanne was strong. Ultimately, just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you can change your opinion on what free speech means and what a joke actually is. A joke can still be a joke if somebody doesn't like it. Dan Harmon has been vocal about this subset of the internet in the last few weeks, condemning misogynist trolls who have specifically doxed a female writer of Rick and Morty. Quote, I've made no bones about the fact that I loathe these people, he said last year. It really sucks. But that's what happens when you engage trolls. You just give them more reason to. Once you show a weakness, then they exploit it. I'm on a Twitter sabbatical, so the last thing I saw was about a Reddit thread detailing bad behavior. And I've seen the tweets that have gone to the female writer. Harmon says, I was familiar going into the 3rd season, having talked to Felicia Day, that any other high-profile woman gets doxxed, they get trouble, they get threatened, they get slandered. It's all part of a testosterone-based subculture, patting themselves on the back for trolling these poor women. Again, Harmon continues, these knobs that want to protect the content they think they own and somehow combine that with their need to be proud of something. See, a lot of these people, think that it only happens to women. I mean, look at my Twitter feed. I mean, people definitely make disingenuous posts about me, make YouTube videos about me. I'm not crying about it. They're allowed to do what they want. They're allowed to make the content they want. They're allowed to tweet what they want, and I can respond if I want. Obviously, doxing is not okay, but Dan Harmon and everybody involved with Rick and Morty has certainly had a rocky history. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.